In a village high in the mountains, all the talk is of a new weapon now being used by the government. They show us the shrapnel and the huge crater this missile created just next to a school housing dozens of refugees.
We were asleep at about 11 at night when we heard an enormous explosion. We woke up to find a hole 6 meters long and 3 meters deep. This is not a usual shell. It must be a ground missile. This is something horrible. The shrapnel is spread over 500 meters or more.
In another village, in Jabal Zawiya, another huge crater, this time in the rocks. The locals say people were knocked off their feet by the pressure of the blast.
The blast shook everything. We were in a cave under the ground, an old cave, when the rocket hit. Even the cave shook. All the glass in the area was shattered. A wall cracked and a ceiling 500 meters away fell down.
The local people say at least when the tanks and the artillery attack, they hear them first and have chance to run away. And they say that even when the aircraft are dropping bombs, they hear the aircraft first, and they have at least some time to take cover. But with these new rockets, they're silent. The first they know is when they actually drop. And they've seen they can cause an enormous amount of damage. The local people had seen video on YouTube shot by government soldiers showing short-range missiles reportedly being launched near to Damascus. US officials have been quoted in the American press saying Iran has supplied Syria with the Fatah 110, similar to a Scud but more precise. The US State Department wouldn't confirm this, but did reiterate that Iran is still supplying funds, weapons and trainers.
We've been extremely clear about how we feel about Iranian efforts to prop up the Assad regime. They're ultimately going to fail, but it's very, very important that all of us continue to shed a light on what Iran is doing. It's not just provision of money and trainers, it's provision of weapons and tactics and techniques for trying to keep him in power.
The UN Security Council imposed sanctions on 2 Iranian firms last month, accused of supplying arms to the Syrian government. The Syrian Prime Minister visited Tehran last week, as Iran promised to enhance relations between the two countries. Iran has not confirmed it is supplying the Assad government with weapons, but the opposition has told Al Jazeera that it is now concentrating its efforts on trying to cut off all supplies to the regime coming into the country by sea. Turton, Al Jazeera, Idlib province.